Hey guys, the Casual Cutter here, and today I have a pretty epic mail call video to show you guys. Two knives that came in the past 2 days, two that I've been after for quite a while and that I'm pretty excited about. So let's get into it. This is not going to be any type of a review, it's just going to be a mail call, show you what came in, and give you my first initial impressions on what I think. As you can tell, one's a Boker Plus, and one is a Koenig, and this is what I'm most excited about. But not to discredit this guy right here, which I've wanted for a really long time. Let's start with this little guy, which is actually not a little guy at all. It's a big guy. This is the Boker F3 knife that's been out for quite a while. This knife, if you don't know already, is based on the Vox F3 Custom from Jesper Voxnes. And the F3 Custom is a grail of mine. It's a true grail, meaning that it's probably a knife I might never obtain. But that's okay because I aspire to one day, which is why I wanted this knife. This is a heavyweight. It's a tank. It's I would consider it a large or medium large size folder, and one of the things that makes it a heavyweight is that blade stock. It's got a 0.2 inch, just about 0.2 inches thick on the blade stock, so you can see the reason why it weighs a whopping 6.55 ounces. So if you're into big, hefty folding knives, I call this a folding axe. But if you're into that, check one out maybe. If you're not, if you're like a lighter weight, more compact EDC knife, this is not going to be for you at all. But this was purchased secondhand, and it's actually the original S30V version. The newer ones come in S35VN. Same dimensions, same weight, but just a slight bump in the blade steel. To me, the difference between S30 and S35VN is kind of trivial for what I wanted this knife for. I'm going to mod it, probably. I'm going to refinish the steel and maybe anodize the scales or backspacer and clip, hardware, kind of go over the whole thing maybe, who knows. But I wanted it just to kind of remind me of that Vox F3 Custom that I'll never have. Overall, this knife is 8 inches long, 3 1/4 inch blade, 4 3/4 inch handle. I have a size large glove hand, so you can see kind of how it fits. And definitely full grip there. It's not going to be short in that department, so to speak. But yeah, it's a cool knife. I mean, it rides on Teflon washers from the factory. The previous owner was nice enough to include a set of bronze washers. So what I plan on doing is running this knife on the factory washers for a while, and seeing how it feels. That way I can discern if there's a big enough difference between the bronze. But it's a cool knife. Satin blade finish. Previous owner stonewashed these scales. I think it looks good. It's got the, of course, it's a frame lock. It's got that signature Vox external cutout there, milling, which I love. It actually makes me want to flip this to tip up carry, but I'm going to fight the urge. I don't want to be that vain. Anyway, these knives can still be purchased new. Like I said, they've been out for a long time. The newer blade steel version of S35VN, about $175. You could pick them up for brand new. I found this for right around $100, just over 100 shipped, secondary market, and I'm happy with it overall. Action is pretty good, deploys nicely. I mean, it's not anything to write home about in that department per se compared to a lot of other knives, but it's smooth enough. I have no complaints out of the box. I really wasn't expecting it to blow my socks off. A little stiff to close. I gotta pass the detent. There we go. Yeah, it's not too bad. I'm gonna buff it and polish it and play around with it. Try to smooth that out like I have on my CRKT Pilar. But it's a cool knife. If you're into hefty little pocket tanks, look into one. They've been out for a while. So moving on to this guy. The Koenig Arius. This is a knife that caught my attention a little over a year ago maybe. And thought it was unobtainable, but never give up. Comes with a little microfiber embossed cloth. That's cool. Little sticker there. Now, if you don't know about Koenig knives, they're a small company out of Idaho. I think there's only about a half dozen employees. And they make what has developed a cult following. Absolute cult following. This is the Arius. Like the Boker, it's a frame lock, titanium frame lock. However, this one has not only a thumb hole, but a flipper tab. The previous owner, again, this was purchased also secondhand. Previous owner put in some purple titanium hardware there. So the deal with this knife is it's been out for a couple of years, and it's gone through one mild revision. Most notably the blade steel. The original version has CTS 204P, and the new one has CTS XHP. Again, just like the Boker, it's not a huge difference in blade steel, so I wasn't concerned with that. And actually, a lot of people will argue that the 204P is a superior steel. But either way, you can't go wrong with either one. So that's a little backstory on the Arius. This one has smooth titanium plain Jane handle scales, because this knife comes in a ton of different configurations with handle scale, show side scale material, and finishes. Earlier on, you used to be able to, from what I hear, request certain scales with certain finishes in the blade, but now they've gotten probably inundated to the point where it's not efficient to kind of take custom orders, and they're kind of just producing batches of certain finishes with certain scales. Why does this knife have such a cult following? That's what I wanted to know. So I did research. I went online for days and days, kind of looked into the company, read different reviews, watched different reviews, and there's a bunch of reviews of this knife on YouTube, so I'm not going to do one of those. But I just wanted to show you what came in and my initial impressions. And I think the most notable thing about this knife, besides its build quality, is its action. So let's just get into that. It is as smooth as any knife I've ever handled. Drop shutty, and pretty friggin' spectacular. You have the flipper tab for deployment, or you can use a thumb hole. You can probably even Spidey flick it. Let's see. Yeah, Spidey flicks. This thing is super smooth, guys. It rides on ceramic bearings. The tolerances are so tight you're probably not going to be able to see them. You can kind of see them. They're I guess captive ceramic bearings, and it also has a ceramic detent ball. So this is by far, like I said, the smoothest at least production knife I've ever handled. Smoothest I've ever owned. And I'm going to say it's probably the most impressive. You can see the blade finish on the one I got is hand rubbed satin with polished flats, and then it's actually got a bead blasted fuller here. Spine of the blade is bead blasted, and then right around the flipper tab. So it's actually got 3 finishes on one blade, which is kind of cool. And I'm not a fan of like DLC coating per se. I like it on certain knives, but on this guy with the blade shape and the kind of knife that it is, I wanted either a satin or a you know, like a stonewash finish. You can see sterile except for the Koenig right there, which is actually engraved in. I don't know if I'm going to be able to focus, but that's pretty cool. Attention to detail everywhere, even on that. If you look at the Boker, it's got kind of like that mass-produced laser etch for the markings, but this is actually in there. Probably hard to tell, but in person you can see the depth. So, yeah, I mean, this is a pretty phenomenal piece. Overall length on this guy is a little bit bigger than the Boker. It's 8.5 inches overall, 3.5 inch blade, 4.875 on the handle length. So awesome ergos. I mean, you can see it swells, fits right in the palm of the hand. I mean, like I said, there's a ton of reviews on YouTube and online for these guys, so I won't go too much into individual features and all that, but I'll let you guys know that I'm blown away by it. It's an awesome freaking knife. I can see why these have that cult-like following. Titanium pocket clip screwed in from the inside of the scale, so there's no exposed hardware there. Yeah, I mean, blown away. It's awesome. So that's the mail call right there. I just wanted to show you guys what came in and what you can pick up on the secondary market for considerable savings. I mean, the Koenig brand new, they start around 500 and they go up to 1,000 plus based on handle scale options, blade finish, hardware options. They were offering for a while a Damascus backspacer and pocket clip for $150 for each option. So that's $300 right there in accessories that you could have gotten. But kind of a version like this with a stonewash or bead blasted finish, plain scales, blue backspacer, goes for about $5. And I believe Blade HQ still has those. But guys, don't be afraid to search the secondary market, because if you know what you're doing and you have some patience, you can find some awesome freaking deals. This is something I thought I'd never really be able to afford, and then after searching for a while, I stumbled upon a deal I could not pass up. So they're out there, guys. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop into the comments section and ask away. Also, you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at The Casual Cutter. Expect to see pics of both of these guys scattered around. I'll also be posting the mods on this F3 if I ever have time to tear into it. I actually have 2 or 3 knives ahead of this that I need to get done. Well, I don't need to get them done. I mean, one's a gift, and the other 3 I'm just tinkering around with. So, who knows? You might see this sooner than later. As far as the Arius, though, this is going to be with me for a while. Expect to see a whole lot more of this knife. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this little look into my mail call, and I will catch you on the next one.